My name is Michael Irons, and I'm being nominated for the Youth Good Samaritan Award. Last year, I let my friend borrow my car to go to college. She came back, and she went in to get her stuff, came back out, and we were ready to leave to go back to my house. She forgot her sneakers inside her house, so she went into her house to get her sneakers. Her door, sometimes in the summer and winter, the wood swells. And when the wood swells, the door jams. It's hard to open the door. So her being right-handed, she grabbed the handle with her right hand and pushed on the door with her left hand, and that old single pane glass. And instead of hitting the wood, she hit the glass. And I was sitting in my car, had my door open, and I heard the glass break, and I heard her yell. So as soon as she turned around, I knew that it was really bad. I seen the blood squirt. So I jumped out of my car, as fast as I could, and as soon as I got to her, it steps away. I see that it was bled. It was pumping blood pretty well. I looked down to see if there was still glass remaining in it, because I knew that glass doesn't break like safety glass now. It breaks in showers. So making sure that wasn't in there. When I found that there was nothing in there, I had to use my thumb to almost cauterize the artery to get it to stop bleeding. Once I had that, I had to take my shirt off and make a tourniquet. That stopped the bleeding almost, but from my prior knowledge, I knew that there's an artery located under your armpit that I then used my other thumb to hold and press off to get the bleeding to stop completely. Once I knew that the bleeding was controlled, I had the shirt using it as a tourniquet. The bleeding was controlled almost to pretty much stopping. I called 911. I got a hold of the 911 operator, and I told them everything, the age, where they were, how the situation is going, and they responded pretty fast. A police officer responded first. He was there. He was kind of shaken up a little bit, and he helped me whatever. He shut my car door and stuff, got my keys for me and everything while I was still holding on, to her arm, so I made sure the bleeding wouldn't, keep going. Once Steve got there and the other EMT, we got there, and he asked, how bad was it? I told him it's pretty bad. It's probably a 5-inch laceration, vertical to her wrist. So that doesn't happen all the time. That has happened. Understand how that goes. And he believed me. He knew it was bad. I told him straight out how bad it was. So we didn't have time to actually wrap it like a normal bandage. We actually had to take the gauze and put it in the wound to compound the wound from bleeding even more. Once we had it pretty much under control. Then after we got into the ambulance, we drove to the hospital. And once we got there, I was the only one there. Obviously, I didn't have any shirts on because I used both of them for the tourniquet. The doctor told me that they weren't actually sure of if they can control it. So as soon as they got there, we really didn't know. And then the doctor phoned over to Cooperstown Hospital saying that we have a young lady here that we don't know, we can't control, they're bleeding, and we're probably going to need to be airlifted to that hospital. I was the only person there, so it was kind of scary. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I tried to keep as calm as possible. The helicopter got there pretty fast, and then after that, I called my mom and stuff, let her know what happened. She got there pretty fast, and me and her went to Cooperstown. The helicopter obviously got there before we did, but we were the first ones there. I got there looking all crazy, blood all over me. People were, concerned, thought it was me that was actually hurt. It wasn't. Found she was there. She was okay. They got the bleeding to stop, because they're more technologically advanced over there, so they got the bleeding to stop. And then they had to constantly unwrap and rewrap the bandage to let blood flow get through her fingers and stuff, so she didn't have a dead hand. They called in, I think, 3 surgeons. They had one from Hamilton. It was a hand specialist, wrist specialist, neurologist to get there. And he got there a couple hours, and I talked to him and stuff, and he was flat out honest with me. He said if you weren't able to get the bleeding stopped and she wouldn't have made it, there's no way around it. He said I got the bleeding to stop around 37 seconds. So, I mean, yeah, it was interesting. But she had the surgery. She got out, and I think she had over 100 stitches and stuff, and it was pretty bad. She had there's 2 arteries in your wrist, and she had one completely cut in half, which they can't repair. They had to cauterize it off, and she has the other one because you don't really need both of them in your hand. You only need one. So she had one cauterized off, and the other one, your body just realizes that that's not working, so it just takes all the blood flow inside of 2, it just makes it into 1, and you can still use your hand. But yeah, so it's pretty intense in what happened. From start to finish, I was there the whole entire time, from when it happened to when it didn't happen, when it was over, when she was all stitched up and okay. It was very intense. It was pretty scary. I mean, I just kept as calm as I possibly could. Didn't want to make the situation worse. I got the bleeding to stop and did as much as I possibly could.